that way.
There's the batting cage in the back of it. How's my hair? How's my hair? How's Jim's hair?
Oh, mine's gray. I know that.
Uh-oh. We may be in trouble here.
You want us back or what? What are you trying to get? Look at that. You're trying to get an easier place to lean it up against the thing, eh? Want me so I can find you a seat? There, see?
Yeah. They took the glass out of here.
Yeah, put netting.
Yeah, probably too many broken
That's right.
shards of glass. Calvin Castine at Olympic Stadium with Caleb Castine on the camera, and joining us tonight is a Yankee fan and a father of a Mets fan. I have a tough time saying that, Mets fan. Mr. Jim Tierney. Jim, we're here for the last homestand for the Montreal Expos. If you had asked me a month ago, would this be the very last homestand for the Montreal Expos, I would have bet big money on it. But over the last several days in Puerto Rico, things have started to look like maybe they'll be back for what will definitely, if there's anything definite in the Montreal Expos story, be their final series, their final season next year at Olympic Stadium. Have you followed the story at all?
Yeah, they looks like they had a vote, or they were going to vote on different scenarios, and one of them now in the mix is Monterrey, Mexico. I'd like to see, again, you'd like to see the Expos up here. It's close, very close for us to come up. But this is our third year in a row we've been here on the field for their last homestand, and we always say hopefully next year we can come again. Here we are.
Yeah, every year we don't know for sure what's going to happen next year. I imagine most people watching this know that a few years back the Lords of Baseball decided to contract two teams. They were going to eliminate two teams entirely from the major leagues, one of those being the Montreal Expos, the other being the Minnesota Twins. They never publicly announced those two teams, but it was certainly a well-known secret. And Jeff Loria, the then owner of the Montreal Expos, decided he wanted to buy the Florida Marlins. So since Major League Baseball knew that the Expos wouldn't be here the coming year, they took over the franchise from him, gave him the price he wanted. He went on to buy the Florida Marlins. John Henry, who was one of the Marlins owners, went on to buy the Boston Red Sox. And for the past couple of seasons, the Expos have been owned by Major League Baseball. This is the second year that they've been owned by Major League Baseball. Last year, there were several times during the course of the year when we didn't know if we'd be back. Last year was one of the contract years, and there was a series here in August when the Expos left town. The contract hadn't been approved yet, and we didn't know at that time if the season was over in August instead of in September.
Yeah, that's true. And again, we're here, and whether baseball vote or whether they vote on coming back again, well, I guess we'll have to see.
As of today's date, the 12th day of September, the possibilities appear to be, and anything's a possibility, but the ones that are out there that appear to be the realistic possibilities are that all 81 games would be played here in Montreal, that they would play 22 in San Juan like they did this year, or that they would play 22 in Monterrey, Mexico, and play the rest up here. Those are the three options that appear to be out there. They've imposed on the players all during the series in San Juan. The Expos have just gotten here from a 6-game series in San Juan, Puerto Rico. And just about every one of those dates, they'd have an hour-and-a-half meeting discussing and probably arguing about whether they would approve that split schedule last year. They're blaming part of their collapse this year, the fact that they're not at the front of the wild card race right now, on the fact that they had 22 games in San Juan. It wasn't that their San Juan record was all that bad, but it just prolonged the road trips, and the road trips themselves became a disaster.
Yeah, as you can see, when Montreal at the All-Star break, they were 49 and 45, and then now since the break they're 25 and 28. So as the year went on and like you said, the road trips got longer and longer, it seemed like it dragged on them, and a lot of close games I believe they let go because of, it could be tiredness or it could be just lack of ambition. I'm not sure.
Well, part of the reason they were losing during that extended road trip early in the season was the fact that Guerrero was out for a 40-game stretch. He's missed a total of 50 games already. But since the All-Star break, the Expos are 18-5 at Olympic Stadium. And what'd you say their record was? 25-28?
Yep, since the break.
So they're 18-5 here, so that would leave 7 in 23 on the road, which is horrendous. That's less than a quarter of the games. They have a 9-game winning streak here at the Big O. They've won 14 of their last 15 games here at Olympic Stadium, and this is the first Expos in Montreal series since they were here 2 weeks ago, sweeping the Philadelphia Phillies. And Believer Fever was running wild at that time. The Expos took those 4 games, moved into a first-place tie for the wild card race, went on the road and lost 9 of their next 10 games, and just got blown right out of the wild card standings.
Yeah, because that Monday night game with Philadelphia, they had, I think they had close to 30,000
They
here.
had over 30,000.
I know they had $1 hot dogs and $5 seats. I mean, that might have added to it, but still, the crowd was big, and you saw it. I mean, ESPN really elaborated on that. But like you said, they had some momentum going, and then it just like the air went out of the tire once they started traveling in different spots, and whether or not they come back and could keep it going. But now I think they're 5.5 out of the wild card and sinking fast. There's very little time now. We're in the middle of September, a few more games left, and I don't think they play too many of the big contenders ahead of them. So we got to
not in the wild card race.
Yeah, not in the wild card race. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they do have Florida, I think, on the schedule, and I'm not sure if they have Philadelphia remaining, but that 30,000, that was the $5 seats, $1 hot dog night. The next night was 12,500. But the next night is when it really caught on. The fans that were here were really in the game. The Expos went down 8-0. They were down 10-3 and came back to win that one. I think 14-10 or 12, but they came back from an 8-0 and a 10-3 deficit to win it. And then the following night, the Wednesday night, 20,000 plus were here. The next game was a Thursday afternoon game, and 20,000 people in the middle of the afternoon found their way here to Olympic Stadium. So when they left here 2 weeks ago, the Expos were flying high, and they couldn't have been shot down any more sudden. They're just like an airplane being shot and falling straight down. That's exactly what happened to them when they left the Big O.
Yeah, that's, like I said, they lost 9 out of 10, and the other teams, especially like I think they went to Florida, they got swept there. I believe they went to Philadelphia, and they got swept there. So it's like anywhere they were going, they were losing ground in a hurry too, because those teams were ahead of them or right tied with them.
And for the first time this season, they ended up being under 500, and they won their last 2 games in San Juan to pull back over the 500 mark. So as we're taping this, they're 1 game over 500. And they did fall below 500 for the first time 2 days ago. So now they're hoping this homestand will give them a little bit of a cushion. Last year they finished at 82-80, and when they left here 2 weeks ago, they were about 8 games over 500. So you said, wow, they're going to have a good season this year. And instead, they're ending up once again battling for the better than 500 record.
So. We'll soon see. I'd like to. I know they're in towards the bottom in home runs, and they're right there along with the Mets. But they are playing well here at Olympic Stadium. Going on the road is another thing. But like I said, we'll see.
6 games here, then the rest are on the road. I think there's probably 9 remaining after they leave here. One of the bright spots we talked on the way down in the car that they're unable to bring up anybody from the minor leagues. Major League Baseball said no. Once you get to September 1st, The 25-man rosters are no longer frozen. You can bring up as many as you want up to your 40-man roster, and just about every team always does, but Major League Baseball said no, we've spent enough. But they do have Michael Barrett back. He's been on the injured list, so he's been added to the lineup. I think they've had a pitcher or two that came off the disabled list, so they might have 27 players or maybe even 28 players on the roster, but they weren't able to bring up any of their prospects and give them a little taste of Major League Baseball. In tonight's game, Jim, we do have Mike Piazza playing, and for Mets fans, it's been a long season for fans that are particularly Mike Piazza fans.
Yeah, because when the Mets were up here last time, Piazza, that's when he started his rehab. It was right here in Montreal, actually, because I was at the 2 games that he was here. He did start with batting practice, and then the following game he caught a little bit out in the bullpen and stuff. And I talked to him out there, as I was a fan at the time, and he said that he felt good and everything. He was hitting the ball well, and then he went. I think he went to Norfolk and rehab down there, and then he started playing. In the first game back, I know he hit a home run, and he's been hitting pretty well most of the time. He's been playing well, but again, him being out, same as the Expos with Vladimir Guerrero. You know, most of the teams are not molded exactly around them, but they are a big catalyst to the team. And if they're out or whatever, it's a big hole to fill and big shoes to fill. So, especially like home run and RBI production, right there in that 3 and 4 spot. So with Piazza being out, same thing with the Mets. They just started descent downhill and everything.
Well, they had Alomar. They finally got rid of, and I don't know what the story is on their big fat first baseman.
Mo Vaughn.
I don't know what's happening with him. I hope his arm is in better shape than Caleb's is right now. Caleb looks like he's starting to appreciate what his father does 8 hours a day here running the camera. Piazza, he's still catching. From what I've read in the New York papers and so on, is he'll catch till he breaks the home run record for catchers. Then he's out of there. In fact, they have brought up a prospect catcher that was supposed to be getting some playing time, and because Piazza needs the catching duty, he's just kids playing first base instead of catching, when it should be the other way around.
Yeah, Jason Phillips right now, he's a rookie of the year. He's batting .312 with 11 home runs, 56 RBIs, and he's been really tonight it looks like they got
2 left fielders.
They got 2 left fielders. No,
2 left fielders in the starting lineup, and nobody at first. So it looks like they don't expect Leiter to have any ground balls.
Right.
So
they do. Jason's been playing first base. He's been hitting well, and he's batting in the 4th spot. He's actually batting behind Piazza, who'll be batting 3rd tonight. But yeah, you are right. They've talked about, in the news, and even I know they had interview with Piazza's father on in one of the magazines, and stated that, he says, leave the poor kid alone, let him play the game. He wants to be. He's a catcher. He does a good job at it, and let him catch. And when he's ready to make a move, or he feels that he's not helping the team, then he will. So that's the way that's what Piazza's father said. And pretty much, I believe that's what Piazza's feelings are. But again, that home run race for the most by a catcher, I think that's something that's in his, grasp.
The team's not going anywhere, so why not go for personal record like that?
Yeah, that's
it's not like they're in a pennant drive or anything.
Right.
So it's just. But he's definitely defensively a detriment to the team. I know there's Piazza fans, including my son, who's holding that camera, but the guy can't. I could probably steal a base against him. Maybe not, but the average runner does. And on the other side, the Expos, in the information provided by the Expos tonight, we see that Brian Schneider is throwing out 45.5 of the would-be base stealers, and that's the best in the National League. So he's really stepped up there with Michael Barrett going down. Barrett was really starting to come along, then Barrett got hurt, but it gave Schneider a chance to shine.
Yeah, well, that's what they need. And I know I see Barrett's in the lineup tonight. He's batting 8th. I mean, he's got an average of 207. So unless they're giving Schneider the night off, which probably they are.
He's caught a lot of games in a row with Barrett being out.
That's it. So
he's had no rest at all, and he's the player representative. So besides the hardest job on the team as far as a player, he's had all this mental anguish with the stuff going on with the league, and trying to convince the team to go along with his 22 road games that are called home games.
Yeah, that would be it. Like you said, you read there in the Gazette or whatever, or keeping up on it, that they were having anywhere from 60 to 90-minute meetings a day in San Juan before games, and it just, like you said, he's a player rep, so he's the one doing all the bargaining, or he's collecting all the information to find back and forth. So
dealing with the league,
yeah,
and with the union president and so on, and so it's been a strain on him. So he's, as much as anybody, he deserves a night off. And an item we found amusing as we were looking over the Mets game notes was that when they go back to Shea, they have an I Love New York Cap Day on September 20th, and the first 35,000 fans, 13 and over, get a free cap. And Caleb said that they'd have to give out 3 caps here to everybody in order to give out 35,000 caps.
Well, tonight is Don Russ baseball card night here, and the first 10,000 fans are going to get a pack of cards, and they'll probably have some left over.
Yeah, and as we're taping this on Sundays, the bobblehead doll days for the Expos this year, Jose Vidro, and that'll help draw in a few fans. And it's unfortunate because the fans were coming here after the Philadelphia series, but I think it's right back to square number one after that disastrous road trip.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that, because of the fact that, like you said, there was momentum building and everything. As you can see, there wasn't no giveaways or whatever, and they're still getting 20,000 here in the seats. And the crowd that was here were baseball fans. It wasn't just somebody coming here and just resting their vocal cords. They were here screaming and hollering, doing the wave and everything else. So it was like, actually felt like you go to a baseball game, where there is 30,000-40,000.
Okay, I don't know how many. Caleb, if you would zoom in on Gabriel over there. I don't know how many Team 990, which is 990 on the AM dial, listeners we have out there, but 990 carries the Expos games, English-speaking version. And when they get done, Gabriel Morrissey over there, who's got the black hat on backwards and the dark shirt, and is just watching the batting practice, he has a program on there, and he's an interesting character, and some people who listen to him on the radio might wonder what he looks like, and there's Caleb's getting a shot of him. In back of him is, of course, Tony Tavares, the general manager for the Expos for the last couple of years, and has done an outstanding job, and he's probably looking over at the Mets saying that's where I'm going to be next year, because he came from the Mets, and the rumor is that Mets are looking for a GM, and he might be the man to fill in that spot.
Well, it, again, depends on whether or not he extends his job here, if they're going to have him here. But again, if the Mets would like a general manager that, I think he's done a real good job here in Montreal, and Frank Robinson too as a manager, being kind of put in a situation where you don't have much to play with. So
and Frank wants to be back next year.
Well, that's
he's already said that he'd like to come back next year. So
well,
and Tavares, I think he'll go where the security is. And
well, I don't blame him in a way. I mean, that's the thing.
He's young, and
he's again, like we talked on the way up, your hands are tied here in Montreal. You can't do anything without the other 20 some odd owners looking over your shoulder or whatever. And like again, September 1st came. All these teams could up their roster to 40 men and, have different pinch hitting, different pinch running stuff to go to. The Expos could only get a few people that were out and come back because they're already on the payroll. And, that limits your capability down the stretch.
Yeah, you're not playing with the same deck that your opponents are playing with. And that limited payroll is also going to result, I think, in no Vladimir Guerrero next year. I think we have seen the last of Vladimir Guerrero in a Montreal Expos uniform. I would be 100% surprised if he is back with Montreal next year.
Yeah, that's, it's hard, it's, you don't want to say that he's going to be gone, but he's most likely, money talks, it looks in this business.
He's a free agent.
And Vladimir is definitely a high quality player. And, he was injured this year and stuff, whether or not that's going to, some teams might look away, but I really don't think so. Because when that guy's out there on the field, he gives you 100%, and definitely he's one of the nice, he's a pretty nice guy, and he's a great guy to watch play.
And he has proven himself over the last couple of years in all the polls, whether it's Sporting News or ESPN. He is always in the top 2 or 3 when they rank abilities. So you know he's going to have tremendous offers there. I hope he doesn't go to a New York team, because I think not. Because I'm a Yankee fan, and both our sons are Mets fans, but I don't think he could exist in that New York environment. I think he needs a quiet place to play, just like he's had here in Montreal, where he can hit his home runs and his doubles and drive in his runs, and then go sit in the corner and nobody's going to bother him.
Yeah, I believe, but I think he would, wherever he goes, he's going to produce. I don't have any question on there.
I've heard that the Baltimore Orioles have the inside track on him, because Jim Beattie, the former general manager here, is now working for the Orioles, and he had a good rapport with Guerrero. And Baltimore is a city where you could go and kind of get lost and not be bothered. I don't think the reporters would hassle him like they would in New York.
Yeah, that's true. I would say that that's a good point. If he goes to New York, he's going to get under a microscope, and they'll and they do that to all of them. I mean,
he's a very shy individual. For his sake, I hope he doesn't end up in that type of a fishbowl. And one final New York item: we were up there getting our information, and Keith Hernandez came over, and I had to ask him if Kramer did spit on him, and he said no, he spit on Kramer. So I guess I'll have to rewatch that episode of Seinfeld.
There you go.
But Keith Hernandez admitted to us that he did spit on Kramer.
Yeah, and if those of you that remember, Keith Hernandez played first base for the Cardinals and the Mets, and he was definitely a pretty good player and everything. Now he's a sportscaster for Fox New York. And he's, like you said, Calvin talked to him up there in the press box, and now Calvin's going to watch his Steinfeld to see whether or not he did spit on Kramer or not.
All right, we're going to give Caleb a break, and maybe we'll catch some of the locker room activities after the ball game. For Jim Tierney, this is Calvin Castine with Caleb Castine on camera at Olympic Stadium in Montreal.
I'm so sorry. 5 seconds. You can get my mic push. 1 minute. Now you've made it 10 in a row at home now. Looks like this whole magic is working for you guys.
That's been good all year for us. Yeah. We're very comfortable in this building, and very comfortable with the support we get from the fans, and it seems to happen for us here in this building.
Tucker did the job.
6 innings is a good job on his part, and Darren did an outstanding job, and Ayala closed it out. And Ferrari had another big day, and Lottie had a big hit. But Barrett stepped right in and gave us a lift offensively and called a very good game. Allen pitched us there very well. And it was kind of everybody chipped in a little bit here tonight. A couple guys got real big hits for us. And that was a victory, and that's what we need.
What is it that and I know you've been asked this likely 1,000 times, but this ballpark and why, Frank?
I don't know. I wish I could answer for you. If I could, I would bottle it, take some on the road. I don't know. I guess they just enjoy playing inside. I guess I don't know. It's mind-boggling to me. I can't figure it out. If anybody can figure it out, let me know.
Thank you, Frank. Merci.
Still willing to take a pay cut?
Yeah, whatever it takes. Man, I love this place. Tonight, great night. Fans were awesome. I mean, I've been telling everybody it'd be like this. And it's just good to see it. The fans, man, it's so much fun. It's so much fun to be out there right now. And to have things go our way like they've been going at home. And I'm just glad that we're playing good baseball here.
Way to pick up where you left off, coming back from the DL. That's going to feel fantastic.
It feels great to be back, first of all, and I've learned a lot this year, and and I just try to now just have get it back and not put too much pressure on myself and have fun, and it's just amazing what happens when you do that. Big things happen when you least expect them to. And I was just glad to be back and have fun.
Frank said you called a good game. How did TJ look out there to you?
TJ looked phenomenal. It's the first time I've caught him in a start in a long time. And didn't know what to expect. And in the first couple innings, he just dealt. I mean, he just had a good sinker going early in the game. And he's very confident as a starter, and I'm glad he's in that role right now. I'm glad he's having an opportunity to prevail as a starting pitcher, and I'm just glad I'm back there to help him out.
You guys had a good game.
Thank you, Michael.
Against the Mets. It seems like